Okay, now we're going to talk about parallel and perpendicular lines. So, parallel lines are lines that have the same slope, and they will never intersect. They will run alongside each other and never touch. So here's an example of parallel lines, y equals x plus 1 and y equals x minus 1. We see that these both have slope 1, so we know they must be parallel. And when you graph them, so here I've graphed y equals x plus 1. Here's the point 0, 1. Here's negative 1, 0. And here's the graph of y equals x minus 1. 0, minus 1, and 1, 0. So again, I graphed these just like I described the last time. I found 2 points on the line. Here are the 2 points for y equals x plus 1. Here are the 2 points for y equals x minus 1. And then I connected those points in a line. And as we see, these lines are parallel because they have the same slope and they display the same behavior I set up here. They never intersect. They just run alongside each other the whole time. Now, perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes, and they'll intersect at a right angle. So what do I mean by negative reciprocal? Well, here's an example. If one line has a slope of 2, the negative reciprocal of 2 is negative 1/2. So just another example, if a line had slope 3, then the negative reciprocal would be negative 1/3. Okay. So now we see that these lines have negative reciprocal slopes, so we expect them to be perpendicular. And here I've graphed the lines. Again, here are the points on the lines. Here's the line y equals 2x plus 1. Here's y equals negative 1/2 x. And we see that they intersect in a right angle. Now notice that for parallel lines and perpendicular lines, the intercepts didn't matter. Right here we have 2x plus 1, and we have negative 1/2 x with no intercept, plus 0. Right, here's the intercept down here. All that matters is the slope. Right, these two have different intercepts, but the slopes have the right relationship, which makes them perpendicular. Here, these two have different intercepts, but the slope has the right relationship. They both have the same slope, which makes them parallel. Now, one thing I should mention about parallel lines is that parallel lines will never intersect unless they are actually the same line, exactly the same line. So here we have y equals x plus 1 and y equals x minus 1, and they never intersect because they're parallel and they're not exactly the same. But if they were exactly the same, suppose they were both y equals x plus 1, then they would actually land right on top of each other and they would intersect everywhere. Right? So that's sort of one weird possible case where you have two parallel lines which do intersect. They intersect everywhere because they're actually the same. And so that's sort of a silly thing that can happen, but it's one potential exception to this rule.